AskReddit by Panther Rasbagut. What is the cheapest thing you bought that turned out to be very valuable or expensive? My daughter bought a painting for $0.50 at a thrift shop and found an envelope with $1,000 in back of it. I used to work at Goodwill, pricing items in the back. One time by accident, I found about $200 in the back of a painting. I checked every painting after that. I paid $50 for my dog's adoption fee. He ended up barking for help when I had a seizure caused by medication. Priceless puppy. Amazing $50 to save your life. Bought a first edition of The Shining by Stephen King for $1 at a local library sale and sold it for $500 a few years later. I've heard that SK made all kinds of ghastly changes in the later editions, but I could never find a digital version of the original. Did you read it before cashing in? I brought a small glass orb for $25 at a street fair as I thought it was cool. For 4 years it was sitting on my desk. A client came into my office and stated if it was authentic it is valuable. Appraised over $10K, not on my desk any longer. What do you mean authentic? Like it really was a small glass orb? Mountain Dew limited edition flavors. Picked up a bunch of 20-ounce bottles and cases of 12-ounce cans around 2005 after seeing collectors pay a lot for discontinued Surge and such. Ended up selling most for $100, $200 a piece about a year ago. Ended up using most of the money to fix my drywall and carpet after most of the cans exploded. So wait, if you didn't buy the cans in the first place you wouldn't have had to fix your carpet? Maybe not cheap, but in 2012 I bought 2 bottles of high quality bourbon, Appease, for $250 each as I knew it was popular and reputed to be good, and I wanted to try it. I drank 1 bottle over the course of the next year, but saved the other. Well, that remaining bottle is now worth in the vicinity of $5K and I'm very hesitant to actually drink it. Well, you already know what it tastes like, so turn that unrealized profit into cash. After my office chair broke, I was going to go to a cheap furniture store, The Range, to get another crappy chair for €150, which was the most I could spend at the time. But on the way there I stopped by a second-hand furniture store in my town, and they had a sturdy looking office chairs, steel wheel frame instead of plastic, fairly comfy, seemed like they'll last some time, for €50. I bought one, and few months later decided to look up what kind of chair is it. Turns out it's a Herman Miller Mirror 2, which seemed to retail for around $1,300 more than I paid. When COVID lockdown started, someone was giving away free office chair on one of those buy nothing group on Facebook. I had just started a remote job as well as my master's program, so I was in the process of setting up my home office. I asked for the chair and the person said if I can pick it up right away, I could have it as she's about to just leave it outside of her house for anyone to grab. I went to pick it up right away, turns out it was a Herman Miller iron chair. A late 17th century printing of Ben Jonson's play The Alchemist, found at a thrift store for 50 cents. Wow, I dream of that. I purchased a tiny glass bird at a yard sale for 0.25 cents. Turned out be a signed hand-blown Murano piece that I sold on eBay for $800. My boyfriend bought me a cheap graphics tablet for maybe $50 or something. He knew that I love to draw. With this tablet, I found a job as an artist and made my dream come true. Not me, but my friend's grandmother was at a yard sale and bought a framed sketch cause she thought it looked neat. Turned out to be a genuine Picasso sketch. No idea what it was worth, but she paid like $1 for it. I should also add that his grandmother was already filthy rich, so she just hung it up and was like, "Man, that's neat." I got a bag for $10 at a thrift store which would cost like $200 in an actual store. Once bought a box load of Christmas decorations at an auction house for $40. It was full of gold, silver, crystal and hand-blown glass decorations from Harrods and other fancy stores. I'm in New Zealand, so they came halfway round the world. I took the cheapest art class at a local art school for continuing ed. It wasn't cheap, but relative to the others it was. Anyway, it got me so invested I ended up using the skills professionally and personally, made some great friends and boosted my confidence. My husband and I just signed up to take continuing ed art classes together. He went to art school and dropped out but wanted to go back, so I signed up with him. I can't draw a stick figure without a stencil, so it should be interesting, lol. I bought a sealed set of the Burger King gold Pokémon cards for like $40. The person gave me a huge binder also full of like first gen original cards. I've sold some of the cards and made a couple grand and still have plenty. I recently found all my old first gen original Pokémon card binder. I'm sure I could make some good money off of it, but I'm too lazy to go through the motions of actually selling stuff. Saved up $150 for a Roomba. They accidentally sent me the model that was $700 at the time 6 years later, and David still works perfectly fine. I call mine Herbertuva. It's a female voice. I once bought a bag of chips and there was this event on their company where they put random amounts of money in random bags, and I bought the bag for like $1 and won 100 pretty worth NGL. Ah man. I wanted chips, not cash. I got a box of vinyl records from a family friend. Went on Discogs to add them to my existing collection. One was an original press of some obscure folk musician. Apparently pretty rare. They were going anywhere from $300 minus $900. I had a guy message me asking for photos, videos. I sent him some. He asked the price. I said name me an offer. He said $500. I said sold. He was a mega fan and super happy, and I was happy to have $500. Nice. One of my most valuable vinyl records is currently selling at $150 because only 50 copies exist. Plot twist. Nobody is buying it because the band is just the band from my brother-in-law 15 years ago and no one gives a crap. The guy is just trying. Well, it's still valuable to me. 1. Studying for finals in college. December 1989. I bought a 6-pack of Diet Pepsi, won a free 2L and the brand new Nintendo Game Boy, all for spending about $2.75. 2. Bought a barely worn pair of Prada Mary Janes at a thrift store in Chelsea Neck for $40. They were going for $800 brand new too. Bought a Russian fox fur hat for $12 at a thrift store, retaining for $1,200 for. Won a lot of 6 silver necklaces at auction for $9.25. One was a vintage Tiffany & Company worth about $300. 5. Found an inch-long pin on the ground going out to catch a bus. Cleaned it up. 18K Tiffany & Company bumblebee pin with ruby eyes. My late father always said, I'd rather be lucky than good, and that is my motto as well. Wow, that is lucky. Finding a pin on the ground and it turns out to be worth $18K? Tell me, what witch gave you this gift? About 6.5 NVDA shares at $141. Huh, a 7-fold price increase. Nice. I won U2's first single, 1,000 of which were released only in Ireland in 1979 and hand-numbered, from the radio show competition that determined which track would be on the A-side. Had I paid for it, it would have been £1.49. Today I'm negotiating selling it for between $3,000 minus $5,000. Not too shabby. I went to an auction last year, looking for tools. They had an old busted up jukebox. I had no interest in it. They started bidding at $500 before going down to $25. I bid and no one else did. Dragged it home and was trying to figure out what I was going to do with it. A jukebox broker I had chatted with before the auction got a hold to see if I ended up buying it. He then gave me $2K for it. I owned it for about a week. Only cost me like £20 to marry my wife. There is nothing else I will ever have that is more valuable to me than her. The best things in life are merely free. I also choose this man's nearly free wife. I used to buy comic books for less than $1 when I was a kid back in the 80s. I think most were like $60. Anyway, my current collection is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars because I also bought those plastic bags and acid-free cardboard backs, and all of them are in mint condition. Bought a nice beach painting in a thrift store in Florida. The artist was Alfred Hare. https://www.floridahighwayman.com/highwayman/alfred-hare/ of the Florida Highwayman. https://bacusmuseum.org/highwayman. The painting is a twin to one that hangs in the National Gallery. https://era-florida-artists-sold-and-often-painted-roadside. More importantly to me is that the purchase led to me meeting and making friends with several of the highwaymen. That is such a cool story, and their paintings look like one I have, but the signature does not match any of the names on the list. I love their work and the story, and this reinforces my goal to buy art when I love it.